It's a movie that had people protesting outside of theaters. Siskel and Ebert hated it and called out the filmmakers by name on TV.
And Ira Richard Barmack produced it. You people have nothing to be proud of. Your profits truly are blood money.
Even legendary actor Mickey Rooney wrote a letter protesting the movie. The irony being that he would then go on to star in one of the sequels.
Pretty mommy.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. And on this episode, I'm going to be talking about a franchise that was sparked by what is quite possibly the most controversial Christmas movie of all time. Now, I talked about Silent Night, Deadly Night years ago, but that was just the first two movies. And believe it or not, there are 3 more of them, plus a kind of a loose remake that came out in 2012. But for this video, I'll just be talking about the original 5, plus all the controversy surrounding the original movie. So this franchise has kind of an interesting history because while the idea of a movie about a guy dressed up as Santa Claus going around killing people isn't that shocking today, back in 1984, people were outraged. But why? I mean, this wasn't the first Christmas horror movie. You had Silent Night, Bloody Night in 1972, Black Christmas in 1974, and Silent Night, Deadly Night wasn't even the first horror movie to feature a killer in a Santa suit. Both Christmas Evil and To All a Good Night came out 4 years prior in 1980. So what was so different about Silent Night, Deadly Night? Well, it probably has something to do with the fact that they chose to advertise the movie on TV during the day between episodes of family-friendly television shows.
They showed ads for the movie like a week before, 10 days before it opened, on Sunday afternoon when the whole family in the Midwest is around watching the Green Bay Packer football game.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, rated R.
So parents freaked out because they didn't want their kids seeing Santa Claus being portrayed like this, especially during Christmas time. And after Siskel and Ebert talked about it, that just made the outrage even bigger.
Silent Night, Deadly Night now has the distinction of joining I Spit on Your Grave as one of the 2 most contemptible films I've seen.
TriStar Pictures pulled the ads and eventually pulled the film out of theaters, but the movie was re-released the following May by a new distributor. Silent Night, Deadly Night tells the story of Billy, who, while visiting his grandfather, is told to be scared of Santa Claus. And on the way home from the visit, Billy witnesses his parents being murdered during a carjacking by a criminal dressed up as Santa Claus. Billy and his younger brother Ricky are sent to an abusive Catholic orphanage where Mother Superior reinforces the idea that punishment is good, so when it's Christmas time and Santa Claus arrives, Billy isn't too thrilled to see him because, you know, first impressions and everything, and he decks the guy. As an adult, he gets a job at a toy store, helping customers, lifting boxes, putting Mr. Potato Head together, drinking milk instead of scotch. He's basically a model employee until he sees an image of Santa Claus, which brings up everything from his childhood. But that's okay, it's just a little trauma. Billy can handle it. But you know what Billy can't handle? Being dressed in a Santa suit. That just sets him over the edge. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. It gets really hot in there. Seriously, it gets hot. So after the store closes, they have a Christmas party where all the employees start doing naughty things that need punishment. So this sends Billy into a murderous rage, killing everyone in the store, breaking into people's houses and throwing them out of those houses, and ruining a perfectly good night for sledding, which is such a shame, you know, because you only really get a few great nights for sledding. And this guy's never going to be able to go sledding again, let's face it. So his sledding days are over. Of course, all of this leads Billy back to the orphanage where he tries to eliminate Mother Superior, but the police shoot him in the back. And who bears witness to all of this? That's right, his little brother Ricky.
Naughty.
Now, this movie has some great, unintentionally funny shock moments, and overall, it's a pretty good bad movie to watch with some friends, but I have to say, I would actually recommend watching the sequel instead. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is the real star of this franchise, as far as I'm concerned, and this is why. The first 40 minutes of this movie is Billy's brother Ricky in a mental hospital recapping everything that happened in the first movie. So you're watching a condensed version of Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then you get Ricky's story, which is absolutely hilarious, because of the performance by Eric Freeman. His acting is so over the top, his facial expressions add so much comedy, his eyebrows dance around with every line. It is easily one of the most iconic performances in bad movie history.
Garbage Day! Huh? No! Bingo!
I actually can't show it all to you here. There's just too much.
Punish.
This is a must-watch, in my opinion. If you only see one of the movies in this franchise, make it this one. And since they go over the first movie so thoroughly in this sequel, I would argue that you don't really need to watch the original. There's really not that much of a story here either.
Let it out. Here it comes.
Like I said, it spends so much time going over what happened in the original, and then Ricky starts talking about the murder spree that he went on that got him into the mental institution in the first place, and then in the last, 10 minutes or so, Ricky kills his therapist and manages to just walk out of the mental institution and hunts down Mother Superior once and for all.
Mother Superior! I've got a present for you!
It's a gift card for Catholic Supply Surplus. I don't know if you've ever been there. They have this huge warehouse. It's amazing. You buy everything in bulk. You save a ton of money. And you know what they got there? They got those communion wafers. You buy a whole case, it lasts you forever. And they never go bad. So the police shoot Ricky, but right before the credits roll, his eyes open, creating the possibility for another sequel, which we got. Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 3 is so bad, it's unreal. And I'm not talking about so bad it's good, like the last movie. See, Part 2 was entertaining, in part because of its ineptitude. But this is one of those movies that is a challenge to sit through. It's called Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 3, Better Watch Out. And it's true, you better watch out. You better be watching out for anything else to spend your time on, because this is brutal. This movie can cure insomnia. It is so boring, I can't stand it. So Part 3 attempts to carry on the story of Ricky, who is in a coma, looking like Dr. Bad vibes, with a transparent dome covering his brain, while the doctors have been trying to repair his skull for the past 6 years. We also have Laura, and who is she? Well, she's a blind girl that apparently has some kind of psychic powers, and Dr. Newberry is trying to use those powers to get Laura to connect with Ricky while he's in the coma. Honestly, why? What more is there to learn from this guy? He killed a bunch of people, and the last time someone asked him why he did it, he explained everything. And then he killed that guy. Laura keeps connecting with Ricky in these horrible nightmares where he tries to kill her because, that's what he has a tendency to do. Of course, these dreams are terrifying for Laura, and she's starting to regret signing up for this experiment, because it's kind of traumatic. And this is just ridiculous. The doctor is starting to get frustrated with Laura and thinks that she's hiding things from him.
I think that she's playing little girl games. I wonder if she's playing games with me.
And here's the thing, she's a volunteer. It's not like she's getting paid to spend her time in Dreamland with jolly old Saint Freddy over here. Hey, here's a crazy idea, Doc. How about, on the down low, you pull the plug on this asshole, throw him in the trash, and open that bed up for someone who isn't a murderous psychopath? So Laura tells them that she doesn't really want to do this anymore, and that she's leaving to go to her grandma's for Christmas.
My brother is coming to pick me up. Could you let me know when he's here?
I'm very busy, miss.
Well, if you see a red Jeep outside, will you let me know?
I'll do my best.
Bitch.
Excuse me?
She called you a bitch, and quite frankly, I think you deserve it. She's a blind volunteer, and I can totally see why she's starting to regret it, because it appears like everyone in this hospital is kind of an asshole. Also, I don't think I've ever seen someone play so awkwardly with a baby before. So Laura waits for her brother, and we're going to be waiting too. There's a lot of this in this movie. It is unbelievably dull. There are entire minutes of just nothing. No suspense, no emotion, just flatline. And sometimes you can tell it's trying to build intensity. It just doesn't. Also, here's something I just don't get. Before Laura leaves, she asks the doctor what time it is.
What time is it, Doctor? My brother is picking me up.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's late.
Okay, so it's late. I guess he's not gonna tell her the actual time though. And also, as an audience member, I would assume that means late at night. But while she's waiting for her brother, the clock says 12:21. So does that mean 12:21 a.m.? Because if it does, this looks pretty sunny for what should be the middle of the night. Anyways, there's a Santa Claus in the hospital who likes to drink and make fun of Ricky being a vegetable, and I don't know, apparently Ricky can sense that he's in a Santa suit because this wakes him up from the coma. One of the things that makes this movie so bad is the acting, and here's an example. This is his reaction to someone who has just awakened from a 6-year coma.
Hey, buddy. Easy, boy, you're not well. Seriously, want a drink? No! No!
Ricky is able to leave his room and go to the front desk completely unnoticed. I guess the hospital is pretty dead right now. I mean, it's 3:40 in the afternoon.
Yes? Well, can I help you?
I like how she screams after he picks up the letter opener. Like nothing about this man was frightening until he picked up the small knife. Once again, Ricky is somehow able to just walk out of the hospital where he's being held. And Laura, her brother Chris, and his girlfriend Jerry are off to grandma's. And I'll be honest with you, if I could pull off wearing that much denim, I totally would. I mean, I love jeans. What's so wrong about wanting them all over my body? There are some things that never should have went out of style. It's not fair. Ricky decides to hitchhike his way to Grandma's house, and he kills the driver that eventually picks him up. You know what? If you pick up a guy like this off the side of the road, you kinda had it coming. I mean, really, what did you expect was gonna happen? Somehow, Ricky manages to make it to Grandma's house long before they do. I don't even know how that's possible. They left before him in a car, and he had to hitchhike. Whatever. He gets there, and Grandma is either extremely kind-hearted or extremely dumb because she lets him in and feeds him. I guess she's not even a little concerned about the fact that she has no idea who he is. He doesn't speak, and from what she can see, he has some kind of a metal band screwed into his head. So I think you can guess what happens to her. The others finally get to the house and they're like, "Where's Grandma?" Well, maybe she went for a walk.
She's not here.
You sure? Shit, I forgot to pick up some butter.
She always hears the car. She always comes out on the porch to wait for us.
Maybe she walked down to the Oates' house.
Yes, of course. She went for a nighttime walk in the pitch black darkness, even though she's expecting us. That's the most logical explanation. So screw it. Let's just start drinking and bathing while we wait for her to come back home, which she totally will. God, this movie is so stupid. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing exciting happens. There's no suspense. There's nothing for a really long time. And even after all the killing starts inside the house, this movie finds a way somehow to make it all just so boring. I don't care about any of it. And then after Laura hurts Ricky, the ambulance gets there. Then right before the credits roll, we get this.
Merry Christmas.
And a happy new year.
Now, this movie was made at lightning speed. They rewrote the script in March. That took 1 week. They shot it all in April. Editing was done in May, and then it was screened in July. So where could they possibly go with this now? I mean, the movie leaves the door open to continue this stupid story.
Call ahead to intensive care to set up life support. With a little luck, we can save this guy.
Well, there is nowhere to go. Let's be honest here. The only thing that connected this movie to the other two was the fact that they named the character Ricky Caldwell. That's it. This character could have been any type of serial killer in a coma, and it would have been pretty much the same movie. That's why Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, Initiation, has nothing to do with any of the movies that came before it. It doesn't even feature a killer Santa Claus. So the title is a little misleading because it really has no connection to Silent Night, Deadly Night. In the UK, the movie was actually called Bugs, which I guess kind of makes sense because there are a lot of bugs in the movie, but it's not really what the movie is about. The movie is about Kim, an aspiring journalist who accidentally gets involved with a coven. It's one of the dangers of the job, I guess. So there's this lady that falls off a roof while she's on fire, and Kim thinks this will make for an interesting story. Murder? Mm-mm. Even juicier. This looks like a classic case of spontaneous combustion. So Kim goes out because she's in the mood for some street nuts, especially the kind that come out of a man's bloody hand. And that's when she finds the spot where the woman apparently combusted. Spontaneously. So she goes up to the roof of the building that the woman fell off of, and she's like, I should actually stand up on the ledge, get a real feel for it. This seems like the safe thing to do. But don't worry, Clint Howard is there to reach into this pipe and show her a really big bug. She meets the woman who runs the bookshop in the building, FEMA, and her friends who love getting drunk in the park.
Do you want to go for a walk?
No, thanks. I think I've had too much to drink.
See, this is the problem with picnics, and I'm sure you've had this too. Too often, you go to a picnic and you get so day drunk that the rest of the day is a complete write-off. And really, the solution has been right in front of our noses this whole time. You have the picnic at night, problem solved. So later, while Kim is about to eat her dinner of shoelaces and ketchup, she starts seeing bugs all over the place, which totally ruins her appetite. She goes over to FEMA's, and FEMA is like, here, have some tea. Also, I'm gonna sprinkle some shit on it, but don't worry, you'll like it.
It's bitter. Oh, you'll get used to it.
That's right, just keep on drinking it.
I'm feeling a little nauseous.
Well, you should. I have no idea what that crap was. I just took some dirt out of the dustbuster and sprinkled it on your tea, and you drank it. I gotta tell Jane. Hey, it's me. Yeah, I just tried the tea prank on Kim, and she totally drank it. Yeah. No, she does not look very impressed at all. Oh my God, you're not gonna believe this. She's taking another sip. Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, it's still really itchy. Look, we'll talk about it later, okay? Kim starts feeling really weird, so she's like, well, I better keep drinking the stuff that's making me feel this way. Finally, she decides to put it down, and the funny thing here is that she spills it, and FEMA kind of gives her some shit for spilling it.
Now look what you've done. Take this. No, onto the saucer.
Ah, Kim, you idiot. You spilled your drugs. I mean, tea. Here, clean it up. Oh my God, you're doing a terrible job at that. It must be all the drugs. I mean, tea. It must be all that tea. Relaxing you so much that you're unable to perform basic tasks. You really need to learn how to handle your tea, Kim. Anyways, now there's a bunch of dreams and hallucinations and rituals where they put a bug inside of her and a bunch of disgusting stuff. It's pretty gross. So I guess FEMA, the lead witch, she's like the coven captain, she wants Kim to take the place of her daughter, who was the girl who was lit on fire and fell off the roof in the beginning. And to do this, Kim has to complete her initiation by making a ritual sacrifice out of her boyfriend's teenage brother, Lonnie. Kim doesn't want to do it, but FEMA puts a curse on her, which sets her feet on fire, so she's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. By the way, I should mention that Clint Howard's character in this movie is named Ricky, but it's not the same Ricky from the other movies. It's not the same character. At least I hope it's not, because that would make this so much worse. So they kidnap Lonnie and have the ritual on the rooftop, but Kim suddenly decides, no, I'm not gonna do this. And this is just so annoying. We all have that friend. You make plans with them and they always bail out at the last minute. And you know it's not because they have anything better to do, they're just lazy. Anyways, FEMA stabs Ricky and cuts him open, then a bunch of giant bugs eat him. Kim's fingers get all twisted up and they light on fire, so Kim stabs FEMA with her fiery finger sword, and I guess this passes on the curse to her or something. Whatever, she falls off the roof and that's pretty much it. I have to say, all things considered, I think this was a pretty interesting Christmas for Lonnie. I mean, sure, he'll be traumatized for the rest of his life, but it was exciting, wasn't it? I mean, he got kidnapped, he saw a guy get eaten by bugs, he watched a witch burst into flames, and in the end, he got this sweet denim jacket for Christmas. And we all know how I feel about that. There was also some other weird stuff in this movie. There's this shot here where the license plate is backwards, and when Kim goes to visit her boyfriend's family, the numbers on the house are backwards. And this is not a case where these images were flipped or mirrored in editing, because there's other words here that aren't backwards. So this was done on purpose, and I don't know why. Maybe to give the audience the sense that something is off? Then we have the toy maker. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, when the original Silent Night, Deadly Night was going to be released, Mickey Rooney wrote a letter in protest that apparently said, "How dare they? I'm all for the First Amendment, but don't give me Santa Claus with a gun going to kill someone. The scum who made that movie should be run out of town." And then, a few years later, Mickey Rooney would go on to star in this movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, The Toy Maker. This movie is about a man who makes killer toys, and quite honestly, it's got some things going for it. The movie begins when a young boy named Derek finds a present on his porch that's addressed to him. His dad gets pissed off that he's up so late, sends him to bed, and then opens the gift, revealing a Santa Claus ball toy that wraps around his head, causing him to impale himself and die. So now it's 2 weeks later. Sarah, Derek's mom, never got rid of the toy that killed her husband and keeps it in Derek's room for some reason. I'm sure that's helping. This movie also features Kim and Lonnie from the last film, but not only that, Clint Howard makes an appearance as Ricky from the last movie, which makes absolutely no sense because, as we just saw, he was killed. I think that was pretty clear. Anyways, Derek hasn't said a word since the death of his father and has been acting kind of strange.
Say something. Talk to me. What are you doing?
Honestly, how do you know that doesn't make the eggs taste better? I've seen somebody mash up their eggs before and eat them with a spoon. It's disgusting, but I guess I can't knock it because I haven't tried it. So Mickey Rooney plays a character who owns a toy shop, Petto's Toys, and his name is Joe Petto. Joe Petto. Joe Petto. Geppetto. And he lives with his son, Pino. Pino. Can you see where this is going? It's a little too on the nose. So it looks like Joe is pretty abusive to Pino, blaming him for all of their problems. There's this guy, Noah, who's investigating Joe because it turns out after Joe's pregnant wife died in a car crash, he started making booby-trapped toys to give to children. So he's inspecting all of the toys from Joe's shop. At one point, Sarah tries to give Derek a Christmas present, but he's like, "Screw that, I saw what happened to my dad. I'm not taking any chances. And look, I understand playing it safe, but you can't just throw the gift out the window. That could be anything." When did this movie come out? 1991. Okay, so it could have been a Super Nintendo. You best believe if that was me, I would be taking the chance opening that gift if it meant getting a Super. Now, this movie has some interesting twists in it. In my opinion, it's the best movie since Part 2, and it has easily one of the best endings. Sarah goes into Joe's basement and finds his dead body. Then another Joe appears, and it turns out it's just a robot. Not only that, it's actually Pino. Joe made Pino to replace his dead son, but he was just never enough, so eventually he killed Joe because he was sick of being abused. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, in 2012 there was a movie, Silent Night, and that was actually kind of a loose remake of the original, and it was actually based partially off of a real-life holiday massacre that took place in 2008. And finally, in March of 2021, they announced that a new remake was in the works. It was supposed to come out holiday season 2022. Obviously, that hasn't happened, and I haven't been able to find any more information on it. So that's pretty much it for this one. As usual, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time. So this is a $20 gift card, says on the back. Look, it's kind of weird how they do things there. They have gift cards for $10, $20, and then it jumps to $100. I don't know why. There's no in-between for some reason. And I realized I could have bought you a bunch of $20 gift cards. I'm just going to be honest with you. Money's tight right now. And he is taking a screwdriver to an original Ecto-1. That should be punishable by jail. Yeah, I think that's about right. And this guy's never going to be able to go sledding again, let's face it. So his sledding days are over. He never even got to experience the GT Snow Racer. I remember that GT Snow Racer. There was like a Brett Hull version. They had the brakes on them. It didn't work too well.